Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing the monthly works this month being hosted by the Wild Witch Star, and this is the one through Amethyst Ascension's Facebook group Divination Spirituality. It's already started, and week one, so basically Star, if you can read what's down here, has created Elemental Foundation. So it's a transformative 4-week journey designed to recharge and reconnect your practice with your elemental witchcraft. So personal elemental practice. What are your experiences? What are your rituals? What are your practical ways in which you're connecting with the elements? And then also creating a spiritual kind of practice harmony with the elements. So for people who have been practicing for many, many years, it's a reminder back to basics, I suppose, and a sharing for those of us who are less familiar, or could do with a refresher and other ways to work with things, because we all get a bit fatigued sometimes. Quite synchronistically, at the time of doing this, I frequent the Flickering Cauldron Facebook page a lot, because they have a lot of information or posts that I quite like to save and keep for rainy days. And this was one of the posts that they put out at the same time as the video launched to announce this. So I've just picked this one. I've put it here at the moment because we're talking about elements. So this is the elements, a spell jar for each element, and there's one for each element here. So I've just put that there as a little, picture. And obviously this is me screenshotting Star in action on YouTube. Oh, which way does this one go? That way. Okay. So week one is Earth, and Star has given us Earth prompts plus some divination prompts to use. So that's fantastic. And as I said, in the Flickering Cauldron Facebook page, they showed a set of, as well as that page, they showed a set of individuals. So I've managed to acquire one for each element, which is amazing. So I've just put them in here for something that I may or I may not do, but it's just something pretty to look at as well, and inspiration. So I have not pre-read these prompts. I have watched Star's video, and there was lots to take on board in there. She is so thoughtful in her craft and how she uses things, even down to stuff like selecting ingredients to create a dye, to dye a cotton bag in, to infuse it with the intention that she wants to make a spell bag or a pouch or something. I mean, yeah, the level of attention to detail was fascinating to hear, and just that alone was like, for me, like a little spark of creativity in my brain. I don't know that I'll ever get to do it, but it was like yeah, that can matter moment. It can definitely strengthen the intention behind everything, depending on what you're making. So if it's a protection spell bag, for instance, that you want to carry, it may matter more to you that you do all of that to turn the bag black if black is your color, or brown if brown is your color for protection, depending on what it is that you're using, or if it's grey because you want to transmutate the energy coming your way. So yeah, so that was really, really cool to do. So let's have a look. Some of this is going to be talking, some of it will be the spread, and maybe I've got some bits around me that you might be interested in seeing. So how do you perceive the qualities of Earth elemental energy? I don't know if I'm going to have an answer to every question here. So if I start by saying, to me, Mother Earth, Gaia, is the earth element. And without it, you have nowhere to nourish a seed to grow. Yes, granted, you then need the other elements. You'll need the heat, so fire. You'll need oxygen for photosynthesis. You'll need water to feed. But you also need the nutrients of the earth. Now I hear you say, what about hydroponics? Well, you can see I thought about this a little bit. Hydroponics still need a stable ground in which to sit and become grounded in. So even though you have a hydroponic system, there is still an element of earth that has to be there to start with to create the hydroponic. And of course, the item in which you encase the hydroponic, although plastic, yes, but earth to create, to make it a physical item. So I suppose I see the element of earth as the physical item in which everything grows upon or from, with the help of other elements. Yeah. In what way do I connect with the earth energy in my daily life? So in my daily life, I am in nature. So I also class earth as nature as well, nature-based. Although again, nature-based means other elements are all included. But the being out, touching the ground, walking. So daily, I will be outside at some point in my life, either going to work or coming home from work, or if it's the weekend, being in the garden with the dog. I will, or I like to in the summer, not so much in the winter, it's too cold and wet and I'm a wimp. I like to put my feet on the ground. I do like to, walk in the grass as well, but let's face it, that's a dog's toilet out there and there's, I don't need to go any further, right? But the slabs and things that we have on the floor are cut from quarry stones. So our patio is sandstone, that's the word, yeah, sandstone. So it is a natural product. It's not a man-made slab. It's not concrete slabs. It's a man-made slab. So it's then, yes, some cement's used to put it on the ground, but it's on the ground. It's a natural product on the ground. And I just feel that that gives me that element of being able to, when I stand on that item, connect to the ground better than if I stood on a man-made item. And I've noticed I prefer to stand on the sandstone in barefoot outside in the summer to the plastic decking that we have. So we have like a PVC decking, so it doesn't rot out, which is where our hot tub sits. But I actually prefer the feel underfoot of the sandstone. So there is something in that, even if it's just a touchy-feely thing, but there's something there. And that grounding technique that everyone talks about. So I'm not a big, I don't go out and I'm not all airy-fairy and like, oh yes, I must ground, I must touch the trees and hug them. But I do like to sit by a tree. So there's something there as well. I do like to sit by a tree. Just my back against it, having a read. I don't go out hugging them, but I might sit. And what I was never aware of is there's an energy exchange that happens when you're sat touching a tree, because they are living items. How does the element of earth influence your personal growth and stability? I'm really not sure how to answer that question, other than, to me, it is the basis on which everything grows. So without earth, would I exist? I don't know that I would. I'd maybe still be stardust somewhere. I'm still coming around to that idea, by the way. That's still one that blows my mind a little bit, because I've only recently really come around to the idea that past lives actually probably are real. You notice I use the word probably there. that shows you how recent in my adult life that has been a revelation of. What else do we have? In what ways do I work with earth in my unique spiritual journey? So my unique spiritual journey, let's start with the coffee that's in my hand, because I need to take a sip. So to me, this smells very earthy, very grounding. I don't know what it is about the smell of coffee, but it has, like, if it's done, certain coffees make me feel a bit nauseous, and others have like a grounding scent to them. So this, yes, it's a latte, but the coffee in it, in which I do feel is a kind of grounding. So through my drinking, through my intentions, when I'm stirring my morning drink, and either stirring in positivity or asking for something specific as I'm stirring into my drink. So that's my magical mundane. While I'm working with that, the crystals, the beauty you see around you, my iPad, books, things that I touch. So anything tangible, touchable, solid items. So the crystals. Let's do the crystals. Let's have the crystal fest. I know there's somebody that's going to be over the moon about this, so let me we'll start with this one. Sorry, let me just dust that little beastie off. There we go, that's better. So this one is a garnet, and it has a very healing, solid, heavy feeling to it. The pulse is low and strong. I don't know what to say about this crystal, other than to me that is grounding. So if I'm feeling emotionally distraught or out of whack, this is probably the one I just want to hold. It's a nice big one. So that's my garnet. Crystals in general. So I have my silver obsidian. Look at the silver, this is amazing. Silver obsidian, jaguar. I think they were going to drill it to make it into a pendant, but started too close to the top, so they never did that. But there's a little dent in his head there. But I think this is amazing. There was one that actually shimmered, so you had to turn it to get it to go. But I think I'm happy with the fact that it's just a proper silver jaguar. I forget this one. Is this polychrome jasper or is this ocean jasper? But it's a beautiful, I just love the colours. Look at the colours. It's just a gorgeous, heavy, hefty, like palm stone. You know, it's, you just hold it. It's very touchy-feely, very, you just, yeah, this. You just want to do this with it. You just want to smooth it. You just want to play with it. You just want to, you know, knead it from hand to hand, palm to palm. Has a very strange call to do this to it. So this is another beauty of a stone I work with. Or have, I say work with, like, you know, these things I just pick up when I'm sat around and I'm playing with them, but I don't carry these that you see with me. Tree moss agate is another good one. I think that's very grounding looking colour as well, earthy, because earth, most of Mother Nature is kind of blues, browns, sands, and greens. To me, that's what the majority of earth is, and then we have splashes of colour to beautify it. Malachite, another great green one, but you can see just the way it grows. And these obviously all come out of the ground, so these are ground items, ground elements to me. And I've specifically picked colours, I think, right now for earth. Tiger's eye, I do have a love of tiger's eye. This one is the multi tiger's eye because it has, so you can see the yellow, and I love the fact that it's cut that way. Most tiger's eye run down. This one runs in bands across, which is what attracted me to this one. So you've got your normal kind of golden brown tiger's eye on there. You've got elements of the red coming into it, but not as strong. And then you have blue, the blue banding tiger's eye at the back there. And I am a sucker for blue tiger's eye, more than this one. But that's why I bought this one, because it had the blue on the back and a little bit of hidden element of red, but it's not so fiery that you can see it. And I think, is that iron tiger's eye at the bottom? Possibly. But yeah, it's just gorgeous. And then I bought a red one. So you may not be able to spot this, but this has red hints in it, especially, you can see it especially there. And in comparison, when I put the two together, so there's a little bit of a yellow tiger's eye and then red. And look at the way that runs down. So I think this is a beautiful point. Lovely kind of Albany reds in it, rich reds. So that's that one. I have ochre. That's right, isn't it? Ochre jasper, because of the colours, so like an ochre. And I just like the fact that it's all one colour on one side and almost all one colour on the other side. I love that like twin aspect of this one, which is why I bought this one and not one with more spots on it. And it is slightly misshaped on the edge there, but I think that gives it more beauty. So this one, and the 2 points are 2 different points, so this feels so much more chalky than this side in the ochre jasper. Moonstone, is this one? Yes, this is the black moonstone. I've left the number on it so I know which one this is, because I haven't written it down to log it yet. And one that I can never remember the name of, moronite, something like that. It's got like a kind of colour in there, like there's a fleck in there, but it's like a cross between this and smoky quartz. See if I can describe it. Let's have that one. Love me some mookaite. Really love mookaite. The colours, the mustard colours with the reds, it's just beautiful. So mookaite heart, that's very grounding. So that's from Australia, from the river River Mooka, as they say. This one is my labradorite wing. So yeah, right now we could argue that that is more an air element, but it's still a stone nonetheless. So just thought I'd bring that one down for something different. I have my crystal got this in a thrift shop or a charity shop. Amazing. It's solid crystal Villeroy Bosch candle holder. So I've cleaned it and I put some lapis lazuli in there. And so just that noise, isn't that gorgeous? It's like a little button jar, you just play with it. So I have that in there, and actually what I normally do is my hearts sit in there with it. So, and then that sits up on my kitchen side. Also coming through here, I have a garden quartz, which I adore. Just love looking into that. You just get lost into the little quartz garden. I don't know if you can see that. Probably should stand up so I can look down on my camera and see what's going on, but it's all the way up there and I can't see. Have a pyrite dragon. Again, you could argue that that's a fire element because of the dragon, but nonetheless, I have this gorgeous little pyrite dragon. Pyrite I feel is more grounding because it's that element of money, materialistic pentacles. And this beautiful, look at this. I am going to stand up to make sure you see this because I need to make sure he gets justice. Look at this. What a beauty. And there's rainbows there in the back of the skull. If they're going to pick up on screen, can you see them? So he's quite new into my collection. So I have that one. And then food. So to me, again, talking about the tangible, food is tangible to me. So food is part of the earth element, comes from the ground, you know, dust to dust, ashes to ashes and all that business. And so we go back from where we came. So I have put a chicken. I am a meat eater. I'm sorry if this offends people, but it's the truth. I'm a meat eater. And this, after we've, eaten carved roast chicken and we've used it for all the places that we can, so we use it honourably. I've been taught to, if I'm going to, have a chicken, we have the whole chicken. We strip it back as far as we can. Once we've cleared the bones, we then soak the bones and we put them back into the crock pots and we cook them for another 48 hours and we make bone broth with them. So we do everything we can to honour all the pieces that we have, and then they become soft and they can either go back into the ground or, I live in a city, so let's be real, therefore they go into the bin and they get sent to landfill to break down there. But we always take this out, and this is the wishbone for people who aren't aware, and you wait for it to dry and then you make a wish on it. And it used to be when you break it, so you do it with your pinky with somebody else, and whoever gets the top piece, whoever breaks the largest piece, is the person that's supposed to have the wish that will, come true. Or as some people do, they break it, and whoever, like when you blow the candle and make a wish, so they break it, and whoever's got that bit in their hand makes the wish. So there's two ways of doing it, but that is something that I've always done, and I've been brought up to do since I was a baby, a wee baba. So there's those. What else can we talk about here? That was a lot to talk about, really, wasn't it? In moments of disconnect from the earth element, what practices help me to reconnect? So my practices would be this: touching things, going outside and standing on the floor. Just going outside, standing on the floor and breathing. Sitting on the floor. Those are probably the connections to the element. Other things I do, obviously cooking. So to me, cooking is an earth element more than it is any other element. So to bake, to make things, that's another way. So if I want to get back to basics, get a healthy diet into my body, eat well, I feel like that is a very earthy element. So that element of kitchen witchery would be earthy to me. What lessons have I learned from the earth element? To respect it. If you don't respect what feeds you, it won't sustain you, will it? It's going to die. It's not going to continue to feed you. How do I incorporate earth energy into my home and environment? So crystals everywhere. There's crystals everywhere that you look around my house, to be fair. There are plants now in my house. I never used to have plants. I now have plants. I call them plants. That's a very rough term. Sucklings. Sucklings, is that the word for it? No, there's another word. It's not sucklings. Oh, can't think. But not quite cactuses, something else. You've got your cactuses, and then you get the other one that's quite easy to root and take. And so those, I have those. They're in my house. Yeah, and the cooking. There is one other thing that I do, which you may or may not be interested in. Two other things, actually. So one is creativity. So the creativity bit, not so much, but the actual making of something. So creating out of wires, things like this. So these are earrings that I have made from wire. So there's another element here at play. So 2 elements if you want. And the earth element, obviously. So that is another way that I incorporate the elements. These are hooped earrings. Very lightweight into my everyday play. Yeah, they're pink wires, by the way, if you're trying to work out what colour they are. Just a very baby pink wire on silver. So that. And of course, my mystical treasure trove. Just get a few things out of the way here. So can't show you everything in there, but I can show you my latest pages. So of course, the Wise Witch's House has gone into here for my practices that I've been doing. Miss Coular's Mystical Musings, Know Thy Hand, the hard copies are in here. My Year Ahead spread is in here, and the pocket, which this one was a tutorial from Debbie's Witchy vlog. Showed us how to make the dress and the pocket and create it all. So that has been done. And I also use this book where I take things, I blank out pages. You know, it's a glue book as well. So symbols of mysticism and other bits and bobs to go in here. Just like that, 2025. So not a lot's gone on in here for 2025. And this was possibly 2024 where I did some in bulk stuff. But that was basically it, I think. I stopped there, yeah, that was 2024. That's all I did for 2024. And then there's a few pages here where I keep like parts of the story out and about in the books as I use them. And yeah. So that is how I do other bits and bobs in my book. There's anything else in there really that I can show you at this point in time. But just more elemental stuff. So I just collect things and pop them in here. So that is, for those of you wondering, that is my Spiritual Yonder book. There you go. So that's another way that I do it. Right, so we can go down to the spread. And let's just talk about some cards. So the Seasons of the Witch Mabon, to me, this is a very earthy deck. Don't know why. Might be because of the colours of the orange. It's definitely seasonal. But I think it's because it has things in here like the apothecary, leaves, plants, campfires, working with plants. Let's just take those off a minute. You know, things to nourish the body, things to leave out. It's very homey, earthy. That's probably why I feel like it's earthy. To me, maybe homey is more earthy. Has things like tea magic in it. You know, I love a good brew. Other things that you can do, like making fire ciders. But it's very, it just feels very earth elemental based to me, this one. So yeah, so I do think that this is another way that you can do that if you're a cards person. So you can pull out your full decks or your earth decks. I don't have many that I class as earth decks, but that's one I would. The other one that I have, I class as an earth deck right now. So this is my Mythologica Fenica Tarot. And I was doing, I was working with the Kalat cards and I was doing like a elemental spread every week. And this is the deck that for the most part of the year has sat as my earth deck. So this is by a Finnish, it's based on Finnish wisdom. Finnish wisdom is about as close as I can get, I think, to Estonian traditions as well for my ancestors. And that's why this one. And it feels very much like it could be as close as I'm going to get for a connection. And this talks about their mythologies, and the mythologies between them are quite close from what I've seen from lots of YouTube videos, basically. That's where I'm basing this on. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, lots of things on trolls, mythology, and a lot of the crossovers that come between the two. So I've watched videos from Finnish people where they have talked about their links and the links between them and Estonia. So that's how I've come to this conclusion. And they are both very land-based cultures. Estonia is a very land-based culture. In fact, I think the word Estonia means land-based, something like that. So yeah, this one, although it's blue, feels like the earthy deck in my collection. So this is the one that I use, and that's my other connection to the earth element if I want to do something in my kind of daily practice. And it's a very rare thing for me to be wanting to connect to an element, but I've managed to find 4 decks that I've been using in rotation for the elements. So you'll see them as I go through this. This is my earth element deck, and I do recommend this if you like a little bit of mythology. And this is the mass market edition. So to do this, I work with the Kalak cards. So today I'm sat in week 46 at the time of doing this. So week 46 card is the one that I put out, and this is the rain card. And it is, the keywords are purifying, clearing, cleaning, the truth, reality, secrets, lies, admit, revealing. And when raindrops fall to the earth, the leaves of trees carpet the ground. We know it is autumn. Sometimes it feels a bit too intense. We often see a period that is less fun. This card shows a heavy rain shower, washing everything clean, purifying the lantern of light, shines on the masks that have fallen off. So this is again, to me, this feels like a grounding practice where I'm using the cards to connect to what's going on in the elements outside each month. Let's get to that spread. So it's only a couple questions, I think. So this is just an Elemental Foundations Divination spread for Earth. In what area of life do I feel stability right now? So on this week 46, in what area of my life do I feel stability right now? Let's see what comes out. Okay, so it's that one because it's stuck in my hand. So we have the Knight of Cups. Interesting. Let's have a look. Nine of Cups. Page. Knight. So it's 2 pages. I'm just going to have a quick readout with you. So keywords here are quick reactions, control over emotional needs, and swift action. So perhaps I'm feeling grounded with my control over, or I need to be stabilizing my control over my emotional needs, perhaps, and my reaction. So I need to stabilize my control over those. Well, it's interesting, they've both got water in these cards, isn't it? Maybe this is more kind of washing away uncontrollable emotional needs, you know? So these are male water sprites whose sphere of influence included lakes and ponds. Sometimes the spirits of different lakes would end up in a fight, and the lake waters would start to splash so hard that the other lakes could dry up entirely. Impulsive, passionate, and easily angered spirits, they like to be kept themselves. Bad behaviour on the water could incur spirits' wrath, which would be seen in diminishing catches for fishermen, and it could even have far more reaching ramifications. So if you offend one of these, I'm going to call them Vetaheinens, no, Vetahinen, who knows? So if you offend one of these, where are we? Mock, it could rise from water and come demanding the offenders' heads. As long as they aren't disturbed and people minded their manners on the water, they are benevolent providers of fish. When treated with respect, they could even begin to protect the person from dangers of the water and drowning, or give endless fishermen luck in return. They're also skilled foretellers, and it was customary to go at Epiphany to talk to them through a hole in the ice about what would happen during the year. Oh, interesting. So scrying with them as well, or seeing. So they are lords over the world below the surface, the unknown depths of the emotional life. It is a good sign that you're swimming in these depths waters, for you are searching for new understanding to your situation by diving bravely into the unknown. They represent power, which may be rebellious, fickle, and sometimes aggressive. This card also symbolizes swift action and reactivity. The card urges you to inspect the limits you have set for yourselves and learn to face challenges directly. They urge you to get to know your dark side and accept all your different aspects. The churning of water may indicate emotions erupting with you. Perhaps you've repressed them deep in your subconscious and denied their existence. Try not to direct them towards other people. So yeah, there is that need to do that. So in order to remain stable and grounded. So how can I ground this part of me? So how can I ground this part of me to be more stable, yeah? Or how can I stabilize this part of me? Same thing, ground, stabilize this part of me at this point in the question for me. Root vegetables. And haunted house. So the things that haunt you are the things you have to let go of. That's a really good answer. Root vegetables. So this is the one that I feel goes with this, and that's just a background answer. So in those hidden places where most fear to go is the most nourishment waiting for you to behold. Root vegetables is a very it's a very earthy vegetable, isn't it, to me? Back into the kitchen. So nourishing myself with the food in which I eat, with the intention for which I cook. For self, rather than always just for other people. So we are digging for nourishment or gold. We are considering other resources, going where others might avoid. So that letting go of stuff, those emotions that I don't need coming to the surface, or hindering what's going on, but allowing things to wash over in a more healthy way, and grounding in food. So I need to nourish myself. When I'm not eating well, my emotions are slightly awry. So I think that could also be what's being told to me here. So I'm not nourishing myself properly at the moment. I have been eating a lot of junk food. I'll give you that. A lot of carbohydrates I don't particularly like, just because it was easy to eat them. And definitely a lot of sugar in there. My higher self chose this card because I need guidance on how to dig deeper for the resources and nourishment that I need for my situation. Some of the world's most precious and desired resources, such as diamonds, gold, truffles, and arborwood, are very rare and expensive fragrance. Made from particular moulded wood, are found in dirty, muddy places, and some of the most nourishing foods are found growing below the ground. Root vegetables such as carrots, beets, garlic are powerful superfoods that are known for their healing and restorative properties. So consider whether or not you have a complete understanding of your desires. You may need to consider enrolling in a class to learn more information, or perhaps you have pulled campfire. No, I haven't pulled campfire card to go with this. Do your research and review the fine print carefully when signing any contracts. Or before taking advantage of an opportunity, you might be surprised to find there are better options available. If you're feeling stuck, it may be time to think outside the box and look beyond what is immediately in front of you. What may seem like dirty or uneven or even an unsavory personal place could be just what you needed in the end, i.e. grounding and dirt, to get your fingers in the dirt. So there we go. That's the end of this one. I hope you got something from this, and I would love to see and hear what you do with your practice, because that's what I want to do. That's what I want to know. I want to know what you do and earth yourself with all of these things around us. So until the next one, take care. Bye bye.